When I was younger, I looked like this. And no one tripped because, as we all know, it's harder when you've been assigned male at birth and are exhibiting feminine behavior than it is to be assigned female at birth and exhibit masculine behavior. Everyone just called me a tomboy and left it at that. Even my parents. When the white people at the stores said something about me being a good son, they never corrected these people. Probably also because they didn't feel like talking to white people in our town. Anyway, I loved being a boy. I wanted to be just like my appa and be cool and wear Olay Cassini cologne and have a comb in my pocket and wear leather jackets and be cool. My appa was pretty much the brown version of Fonzie, the bald brown version of Fonzie. I just wanted to be a boy and have that freedom to just be and play and make noise and sweat and fart with gay abandon. To take up some space, essentially. When I almost got sniffed out for being gay, because queer people, we have this smell. We smell like a unicorn and a pixie stick had a baby. It would be like a Skittle rainbow, and that's what we would smell like. When a girl in my class almost sniffed me out and I got scared, that was when I started my first gender transition into the girl that I was supposed to be. And that shit was hard. Big ups to all the fierce women in my life, because holding in farts is agonizing. Anyway, I learned what I knew to be true, that it sucked to be a girl. It doesn't suck to be a girl. I meant for me, girl, because you couldn't get away with shit. Everyone was watching you, making sure you behaved, making sure you were tame enough so that some auntie could see you as a future daughter-in-law, pretty much making sure you didn't take up space. So I did what anyone in their right mind would do. I ran away because being who I wasn't was horrible. I mean, some things I enjoyed, like having girls as friends, but those 6 years of my life were torture. I was angry, depressed, but deflected with jokes. And then finally, when I got to college where I could finally be open, it felt like I was slingshotted through queer clouds and landed in the old version of myself. I was that fresh out of the closet queer, smelling like bounced dryer sheets and ready to take on the world. Now that I was back in my boy skin, I couldn't shake all the valuable ways I had learned being in my girl skin. I was like a mix and mesh of both worlds. Guess two negative social constructions made a positive trans experience in a way. Here I was, a stud, a boy, a BOI, holding the lessons I was receiving from queer and feminist mentors of color who I loved and I wanted to be like, and the one cis white man who was a communist. I wanted to be like him, just not white. So, my masculinity. It's been defined by my appa, by feminists and beautiful men, but even then the toxicity crept in. For me, in the biggest way, it was never let them see you cry. It's like it's okay to take up space in every other way with anger or bravado, but not in sadness. And I adopted this hardcore. And because I was a feminist, I made all the space for women and femmes in my community, not really honoring the fact that no space was being made for me as a gender non-conforming masculine brown person. I didn't know if I wanted to be a boy or not. I kind of knew I wanted to be like more of a boy than I was. Kind of curious as to what my gender journey was going to look like. And then finally, I channeled my inner white woman self and went to Bali to get my Eat, Pray, Love on. Just kidding. I went to Bali for an artist residency. But anyway, I still prayed for my ass. I was tired and exhausted with all the worries about who I was disappointing, not just my parents, but the elder queer women in my life who didn't want to lose another butch or stud to being trans. And I internalized all this shame until I saw how the men that I was hanging out with in Bali were. They all cooked together, they ate together, hung out, wore flowers, made art together, took care of their children together, and I was like, duh, it doesn't matter anything else. I can define what masculinity means for me. And I centered my needs for the very first time. Something I thought masculine folks didn't do. Got top surgery and I started my transition. And this is where my vulnerability lesson has been hitting me the hardest in my life because I didn't get the memo apparently. I understood that my inability to center my needs, speak up for myself, know what it is that I needed in moments where my feelings were being big. This is the shit we're taught that strong masculine folks don't do. Just take care of folks, accommodate, learn to fix situations, and then we get caught up compartmentalizing our feelings in order to do so. You feel me? So here I was, trying to just be a dope queer person, but I had drank too much Kool-Aid. She nearly wrecked me in this pandemic because I hadn't pissed all of it out. So life grabbed me, and threw me around in 2020 like a rag doll in a toddler's hands. I am unlearning a whole heap because 2020 was nothing but lesson giving. I could take up space, but not all the space, of course. I can center my needs and no one else's needs will be swiped off the table. And I can speak about my feelings. In fact, I can recognize them and hold them as valid. And I cannot worry about how sharing my feelings looks to other people. Being masculine is not about being man enough to suffer through some whack shit or to be getting by on tending to everyone else's needs. Your partners, whether femme or masc or any damn gender, they need you to tell them what you're feeling, i.e. stating your needs. Actually, you need to do this. If the only way I can talk to a younger version of myself is by telling them the right way to live, like if I ever have young masc folks in my life, which I do, I tell them to not be afraid of sharing their feelings about something that doesn't feel right to them. Sharing their fears that shit might not pan out in their favor, sharing their anxieties about their lives, whether they're doing it right, whether they're able to accomplish their dreams, etc., etc. It's a practice. A scary one for someone like me who has been confused with all the arguments about taking up space as masculine, but it's a practice I find worth doing for my mental health.